Hello guys, welcome back. Carrying on with my GoldenEye 20th anniversary soundtrack podcast. And now we're in the middle of the scene where the Tiger helicopter takes off. It first starts with Xenia and, the famous line, have a small surprise for you from the friends back at the barracks. And she then shoots the two pilots. Boom, boom. Yeah, now the music that I came up with was something that was quite orchestral, as opposed to the original track that was that featured some kind of a synthesizer, upright bass, and the triangle sounds. Now, and I remember that scene in particular because that was a pain in the ass to make, because I was talking about early on about getting rid of the original music as good as I could. And I said the good thing was that Eric Serra's original music is almost all of the time very silent, but in this sequence where Pierce Brosnan runs to the ship and tries to get aboard and gets holed up, there were some sounds, like the triangle, for example, that were so incredibly loud in the overall mix, and you couldn't lower the volume to a certain degree, so you could still hear the sound effects going on, but get rid of the triangle. That was such a pain in the ass to get rid of. And usually what you could do is use some filters, because a lot of the Eric Serra music is very deep kind of stuff, and so you just could apply some filters and you would get rid of that deep stuff, and you still hear the sound effects quite decent. But the triangle is a very high frequency sound, and you cannot take that out. You cannot filter that out in a way that works actually. But yeah, I went quite silent with the sound effects and stuff, which tried my best. Not absolutely happy with that composition, but yeah, I think it works at the end, because the sound effects, it's not something like a dialogue in here. It's the people that are applauding. You hear the Tiger helicopter. That again was quite loud, so you could still hear it, even though you could hear the triangles. And the next part, we're fading in Severnaya facility. Boris goes out for a smoke, a little traitor. And the Tiger helicopter comes in. And that scene, for example, is a good example of, subtle music underlining. You can hear the track in the background, the original track that I used in that scene. It's a very subtle track that I made quite Eric Serra-ish, with a lot of those special instruments and stuff I did on my own, that I think sounded like a little bit like Eric Serra stuff. That would be appropriate. Yeah, and Xenia, Oromov both enter the Severnaya facility. And I quite like this quiet but yet noticeable music. And yeah, that's a whole track that goes throughout the scene. And then where Xenia shoots the people in Severnaya. The music constantly builds up, more instruments pop up in the track that add a little bit of tension as they're programming the GoldenEye satellites to aim or to fire down at Severnaya. And you can hear some kind of whispering in the background, which is something like, and that was quite a cheap trick. I mean, I was literally just, plugging in the microphone, and I was just going like, and stuff like that, just silly. It sounded completely silly. And when I took the recording, it made me look like a complete idiot. But then I applied many filters, whole reverb, you know, more stuff like reverse effects and tons of stuff. Literally, I had to then export the files with a lot of effects on, and take that track again to be able to add even more effects to it. It was at the end it was completely distorted and completely, you could not recognize. And I multiplied the voices, you know, like one voice I went to 16 voices, you know, just like computer generated more voices to it. And there was stuff like, you know, really old kind of effects like ring modulator and all that couple of things. But I think at the end it really did a nice little trick. And yeah, the next part is called the impact, where you can see the abandoned 7i facility with all the dead people. Natalia comes out of the closet, and the fighters approach 7i. And there went for quite, you know, a sad little theme. And that's something, again, you know, that's not something I was given. I could have, you know, Eric Serrat did quite a cool orchestral suite there with, you know, to underline the sad emotions. And then it changes the key, and GoldenEye strikes. Boom. There you have the sound effect. Yeah, there's no music at all. Just so when the GoldenEye hits and there are those cool sound effects, electrical sound effects, the explosion and everything. The original scene was not scored, and I also thought that's, you know, the sound effects are like music themselves. They work perfectly, so that would be redundant to put music there. And so the whole explosions and everything, I just let that be the music, so to speak. Yeah, the next part is called Devastation. Starts with a military tune, you know, as the mix get hit. By the electric impulse. And then you can hear how it crashes into the satellite, so the music syncs with the actual crash of the MiG into the satellite dish and the whole 7i facility, evidently. And then again, there's a reprise of that sad music, of that sad suite, where Natalia covers up Anna. And I really like that tune. Eric Serrat's tune was perfect as well. I'm really fond of that. But I thought, you know, I just don't want to copy it because I want to show off a little bit of, you know, my own stuff. And so I did my own little suite there. And then Natalia goes to the voice decoder. But, yeah, it couldn't open the door. And then I put a little more tension music in there, where she watches the ceiling, looks at the ceiling, and the monitors are about to drop. The original wasn't scored there, but I thought music could add a little bit of tension. And yeah, now she watches everything. Everything is still quiet. And now. Boom. Yeah, and then we're going to look at the next part, which is then that's the thing I'm quite fond of. That's the missing cue, the famous missing cue from GoldenEye. One of the tracks that are missing that a lot of people crave for. You know, that's the cue where Bond goes to St. Petersburg, and Eric Serrat has done a wonderful cue. Synthesizer music, but the Bond theme, and yeah, there I thought, you know, I was really torn with that thing, because I thought, do I want to do my own thing there, or am I going to copy Eric Serrat's cue? That was never released on CD, by the way. And so I thought, you know what, I read so many topics and forums and comments of people missing that cue, actually. So I just said, you know what? I'm just going to copy Eric Serra's cue. Yeah, so it's not as good as the original of Eric Serra, but I just thought, it comes close to it. I analyzed the track thoroughly, even though it was just a very short, like 20 to 30 seconds track, but I analyzed it thoroughly, tried to emulate some of the sounds and get as close as I can to the original. So that was it for today's part of the GoldenEye 20th anniversary soundtrack podcast. In the next episode, we're going to take a look at the famous bathroom scene and some more. I hope you tune in again. I hope you have a great start of the week. Bye-bye.